the Stinky Popcorn Boys.
We watch movies and eat popcorn. And you're stinky.
Hello. We are the Stinky Popcorn Boys, three boys talking about movies and how they made us feel. I am Patrick Basquel, Matt Stone, and Trey Parker's college thesis film.
And I'm John Gilardi, and I'm a lonely cannibal, and it's tough making friends.
It is. It's true.
And I'm Christian Ames, and I'm here to comfort John and tell him that the finest cut of meat off a human being is the gluteus maximus.
Ooh. That's good.
That's what they say. It's like the
Medium
part that
rare,
would taste best, I guess.
I mean,
Just like
it would be
That's like
so
the butt.
good.
That's the
would
butt.
just
That's
be
the
like-
good bit.
When they say like pigs are very similar to humans, so like whenever I eat pork, sometimes I wonder
Well,
about
that's like
how much does this taste like a human, or like I don't know.
I guess the trigger warning cannibalism talk. We're going to be talking about cannibalism and how it made us feel. No, I'm just kidding. But that's what they say. They say it's long pig is like, they're like, oh, we're having long pig tonight, and it's human.
Oh,
That's like
is that what the cannibal community?
that's what
shorthand?
that's what cannibals call it. It's long pig,
That makes sense. I mean, we are tall, long
and we taste like pig apparently.
meat sacks. such as
Really?
pigs.
Yeah.
That is fascinating.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Well,
today.
Yeah.
What are we talking
Today
about?
we're going
What's
to be
the movie?
talking about the 1999 film starring Guy Pearce, Ravenous, and it's got a bunch of other actors you'll sort of recognize from other things.
Yeah.
There's
Directed by Antonia Bird.
Eh.
She's a UK director. Did a lot of TV things. Was known for like kind of crazy, spontaneous moments.
did you
like
read it all
moment-to-moment
about did you read it all about the production for this?
Yeah, I know some of the background of it, which is pretty wild. She was basically brought on to rescue the project because she was ready. She wanted to be done with Hollywood stuff, and this was her last kind of thing before going back to like the kind of UK scene. But if you are sitting here and you don't know about this movie, or you're like, what the hell is this? Like, what?
Yeah,
None of us had heard of it until I saw it on a YouTube video of this guy saying why this movie's great. And I was like, what the heck is this? And I listened to it, or I watched the video. And I was like, oh shit, this sounds really interesting. And then I told the guys, this movie sounds
Dude,
really
but-
interesting. And then here we are.
We're gonna get into hardcore spoilers as we normally
Yeah.
do.
Of course,
But
of course.
if you've never heard of this movie, don't watch trailers. Don't listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
Stop it right now and go watch it. Just watch it. Go in without knowing what you're getting into, and you are gonna sink your teeth in.
That could be
It
like
is, like this movie is a trip.
That could be the tagline is like a treat you want to sink your teeth in.
sink your teeth.
No, like the movie, the meal you never knew you needed to eat. Or
Yeah.
Sink
Or
your
something
teeth
about-
into
the
me.
sustenance.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sustenance you never knew you want.
That's the cover of the Blockbuster. It's like, it's Ravenous. Sink your teeth into me. I'm tasty. That's like the thing talking to you.
I'm tasty and I'll give you power.
I'll give you power.
So what
Who
is
wants a
this movie?
synopsis?
yeah. How do we
I'll-
synopsize this?
I'll throw it in there. It's a film about a kind of shamed military guy. I think he was a captain, I think.
Yeah,
Captain Boyd, who Guy Pearce plays, and the Mexican-American War, so it's the 1840s. And so he gets shamed and he gets put to this fort where they kind of put the outcasts out west in California by the Sierra Nevadas. And, he gets there and things just start going awry. And obviously some cannibalism comes into play.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the film, is he goes out to the edge of nowhere and there's cannibalism, I guess, is kind of the shorthand.
it becomes a game of like, who ate human last?
Yeah. I don't know. I really enjoyed the movie. I don't know where to start, though, I guess, in terms of...
Themes of hunger, ferocity,
I mean,
animalistic
would you guys
tendencies.
want to do, like, things we liked, we didn't like, or just, like, first initial impressions?
I think-
or, like...
First initial impressions. I mean,
Yeah.
because there's
Yeah, overall, like what? So, what were you guys' thoughts
Oof.
overall?
Well-
When you finished this movie, what were you feeling?
I liked it. It felt fresh. I felt like I discovered a hidden gem, even though someone else essentially had told me to watch it. But I felt like, oh, cool. This is something that not a lot of people know about. I watched it and I really enjoyed it. It was weird. It was quirky. It had some fresh things, had some old ideas done in fresh ways. It felt nostalgic, which was weird. Like it felt like a 90s. It was a 90s film technically, but it just felt like a throwback to like cinema. And I don't know. I just love the look of it. I love the setting of the American frontier mixed with like 1840s U.S. military culture and cannibal. Like there's so many weird things that it has, and also it throws in unfamiliar tropes with like really settled familiar things. And I don't know. I guess that's my little quick bit on it.
I liked
in terms of first impressions.
I liked how it was like kind of like a movie where we see our main character is a coward. Like throughout, like consistently, his choices are very cowardly.
Yeah,
you know,
kind of sucks.
Yeah.
like he is a big time coward. Like even his big, and that's like this movie is like really good in a lot of ways. It's also I have thoughts about. I didn't love it, but I also really enjoyed watching it. But it's like it was just really cool to have our main character, our protagonist, be such a big coward. Like, and there was at one point in the movie, like I was like, Guy Pearce hasn't said any fucking words. Like,
Yeah.
That's true.
Like,
he doesn't
doesn't
say
like
a
have like a
lot.
monologue
And it's Guy
or like
Pearce,
Yeah.
too.
a moment.
Like,
and then outside of there's the voiceover where he's like he's riding up to his shit assignment up in the Sierra Nevadas, and like that's his voiceover. That's the only lines he says, because like up until that point he doesn't say any words. They're just like, "You're not a hero. Go to California," and he's like, he just
All right.
yeah.
he's like, yeah. And then so
Well, it's
I actually started to track. Until I started to track his lines. So until he asks Calhoun if he like subtly, if he's like, "Did you feel like any power whenever you ate that human?" Like until he has that little speech where he asks him if he's a Wendigo. The words his lines are swimming, cowardice.
That's right.
That's
his one hobby.
That's his one hobby, swimming. And then it's like,
funny.
how did you get your medal? Cowardice. And then he says he won't mind and he'll be all right. And those are his lines. But like, and then after that he had this thing, so I didn't keep tracking it because he said a lot more stuff. But I was like, damn, that's like 20 minutes of movie. He says 4 lines with like 8 words.
But
Yeah.
it's Guy Pearce, so you're still waiting on every word he's about to
You're
say.
still
My
waiting.
favorite. I loved this movie because there were so many like kind of campy, corny moments. The soundtrack was fucking hilarious, but it's sprinkled with impeccable acting. So like, there's these weird moments, crazy shit's going on. You're like, what am I watching? And then there's like these monologues, these brief monologues from, I forget the actor's name.
Robert
who plays Colonel
Carlyle.
Ives. Robert Carlyle carries this movie. I
Yeah.
love Guy Pearce, but Robert Carlyle is incredible. Absolutely impeccable acting.
Yeah, I guess
it's
he's
just-
best friends with Antonia Bird, the director, and he's
Yeah.
the one that was begging her to come.
Oh,
to do
okay,
it,
that makes
so-
sense. Because you could tell he was into this movie.
Yeah.
But this movie, I loved it from start to finish. As soon as it started with those weird, corny titles with the sound effects swooping in.
Oh
in
my
the beginning, I was
God.
like,
Those-
I was like, what the fuck is going on?
I was like,
this is-
what is the tone of this movie? And then that scene, like right in the beginning with the meat, and like everybody has a steak and nothing else on their plate. Like I was like, okay,
Yeah.
let's maintain
Just
this.
a
This is fucking weird. What are we doing?
Okay, so this movie's gonna be about eating. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I loved
Alright.
how it made the steak gross too. There's something
Yeah.
off-putting about it, and it was
Dude,
obviously Guy
okay.
Pearce's like uneasiness.
This was my note. They tried to make meat look gross. I was still made hungry by that scene. I was, and I know that most of the audience, 99% of the audience, is gonna be like, dude, I didn't want to eat after this movie. I was the opposite. I want to go eat someone. This movie made me want to eat someone. I literally
You
want
heard
to
it here
join
first, guys.
a
Maybe you
cannibal
want some
cult.
pork.
Yeah, dude, some
You want
long
to get
pig.
You want to get some
Some
barbecue?
long pig.
You guys want to have some barbecue? Let's come on over.
No,
Yeah,
but
but
I did that was a great way to open the movie with that scene. When he looks down at his steak and you just hear the fly buzzing by and it's like ugh.
It made me anxious. Like I definitely I was definitely hungry by the end of this. I wanted chili. I don't know why. I wanted chili. But like that opening scene with all those people like eating and like just the noise of people eating and then looking at it, I was just like, all right, you making me anxious and like nauseous a little bit. Okay.
Surprisingly, that was grosser to me than like the gore around eating the humans and all that.
Yeah.
To me, like, did we lose Patrick? I think so. We'll keep it going though. Doing it remote. Anyways, so to me that like the weird steak thing was more off-putting than the cannibalism. Maybe just because of the suspense or the disbelief that they're not actually
agree
eating
with
humans.
You, and I think because it's more relatable. Like with the human gore, it's clearly fake. Like it's just fake blood and stuff. But with the steak, it's like that's actual meat.
But with that,
I think-
the special effects and the gore prosthetics, like.
Oh, they were great.
They were great, and they also like didn't hold back. Like there was a part where they're like butchering a human, which is was pretty weird to see.
Yeah.
So, do we have you back, Patrick?
Oh boy, we
Uh-oh.
lost Patrick. You know why, dude?
Why's that?
Because I ate him.
No.
He's on my plate right now. Medium rare.
You cooked.
His legs
You were
still
cooking
wriggling.
them slowly as we were
Yeah.
recording this. I guess we'll just keep this going until we can get it
Yeah,
figured out.
we'll keep it
But
going. We'll
so
keep
yeah,
it going.
like I guess we touched on two things that I do want to talk about more, which is tone in the soundtrack. Just one little funny note is the soundtrack. So it's cool and it fits, and it's got like a couple instruments that like carry really well. But like sometimes it sounds like a Yoshi story.
Yeah,
soundtrack.
dude, there's
like Yoshi
there
story
is
or Kirby or something weird.
There's a hurdy-gurdy in
Yeah,
the soundtrack.
The hurdy-gurdy sounds dope. That's
it's-
like when
it
that comes
kept-
in, it's good.
Oh, I'm
It was
back.
bringing me back to what's it?
There
There
we
we is.
Oh my gosh.
There's
I
Patrick.
don't know what the fuck is
He's
happening.
back. He's back.
Ugh. The
I
soundtrack
didn't
was
cook
weird.
him and eat him.
Yeah, so we're talking soundtrack and tone.
Oh my
I think
god.
those are things that I want to get into.
Yes.
And so I was talking how the soundtrack sometimes sounds like it was from Yoshi's Story,
I
the
have
Nintendo game. But I liked it. I really liked it for some reason.
It reminded me of I kept thinking of Quentin Tarantino with like the weirdness of the juxtaposition of the soundtrack with what was going on, especially in that chase scene.
Oh my
where
god,
he, like,
dude.
where Robert Carlyle is like, run, and he's chasing the guy.
It got
It's
so
just-
goofy.
It's so funny. It is so funny.
And it sounded like
For some reason,
it sounded
Sorry,
like
go
they
ahead.
were using like period appropriate instruments in the beginning. Like it's like it sold me on it where they were like it definitely felt like two dudes just like they were like, all right, we need you to score this movie real fast. Go score this movie. Here's a bunch of instruments. You go watch it, and you guys just play around and make something work. And they just like just were trying out different instruments and stuff, and they just got high and just jammed on the ham bone and stuff. But sometimes it was really
good.
cool, and then sometimes it was really goofy. Like it felt like at one point they had like a Casio keyboard.
Yeah, no, so the hurdy-gurdy thing sounded pretty hurdy-gurdy-ish, which for those of you who don't play Sea of Thieves,
Ooh.
that's like it's like an accordion type thing. Sounds like an accordion.
Okay.
But
deep
the
tone.
tinny synthy organ that like that just sounded like a MIDI synth that
Yeah.
you could get on GarageBand.
Like-
It sounded so bad that it kind of worked.
Yeah, like the tone
was-
the tone was so all over the place. It kind of worked. Like I had throughout my like watch notes, it's like, bro, the music is fucking wild, and it's like and that's the thing. It's like the movie is what makes it goofy when he's falling, and like down the hill. It's like
maybe think of Hot Rod
If-
or whatever movie.
it
that's
happened
riffed
for
off
so
that
long.
sequence.
The fall
Yeah, I
is
was like,
so
oh, shit.
the fall is so funny. It's so out of place in the movie, but also is it out of place? Because they definitely, I don't know,
Well, the
man.
movie. So I guess when I watched the video that sold me on this movie, and when I pitched it to these guys, I was like, it's all over the place. Like it's a horror, comedy, thriller, dark humor. I don't know. It's a little bit of everything. It's even a historical film that's to some extent.
Yeah.
There's also supernatural elements. Like it has so much going on in
Dude,
it.
I
And it works.
love there is and we've talked about this before. As long as there is a somewhat cohesive universe, I'm in for it.
I would agree
and
with
when
that.
they add the Wendigo, like they add the fact that there's a reason why Colonel Ives has this power, why he's able to do this. Because he eats people and he absorbs their power. He absorbs the traits and the characteristics and the strength of all the people he eats.
It reminded me of like a warped superhero, or like
Yeah.
This is like what superheroes would be like in a real world, I guess.
Yeah.
It would be these
For me,
fucked
it
up
was a
people
vampire-
absorbing powers from people by eating them.
Yeah.
Like,
It
it
was
kind of got me my imagination kind of went off in that direction, but I really love the supernatural element in it because it was just like human spirit. Like it was such a simple like concept of the supernatural passing on, and yeah.
Oh,
ahead.
sorry, dude. No,
You're
I was
good.
just gonna say I thought it was like a modern or a different take on vampires.
Yeah.
Just a vampire movie, basically.
It was kind of like a vampire movie without having vampires. And also like
Yeah.
I mean, I wish that they had the space to pull more on those threads. Like I don't need more rules. I just want to like explore, like if they had been able to be like, "Oh, what if he gets more brave whenever he eats Reich, you know? Whenever
Ooh,
like if he got more brave or if he got more strong, like if it was more like 1-to-1, like you ate the person so you adopt their characteristics, like if the guy ate the Indian guide and so he was like a better tracker or something like that, you know? Like if they
dude, I love that.
if it had been like a little bit more 1-to-1, but I feel like for me, I think I tend more towards there was so many cool threads that they weren't able to follow through on because and it was like almost funny, and then they would like kind of undercut it for me. But I also, again, I'm not trying to bash it or whatever because I do think it's like fun.
I do think it was a funny movie, but I didn't laugh out loud at it necessarily. It was just kind of like, huh. I didn't even
I
laugh.
laughed out loud at the
enjoyed it.
chase scene.
The
when
chase
the
scene-
first chase scene.
I think-
I laughed out loud.
But
at
I
that.
think
Yeah.
that's because of
That
the
was
music.
hilarious.
The music
Yeah,
makes that
no,
chase scene
it was
be like
100% the music. It was
But
so
then at the
fucking
end,
funny.
the music got so fucking cool. Like the music at the end was like, all right, we got a weird tone going here. Whenever, spoiler alert, I guess we can go.
Yeah.
But whenever,
spoil away.
whenever the third man comes, which fucking took me by surprise, I was like, there's a third person?
The Colonel.
Yeah,
that
the
was
Colonel.
Ed Rooney from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, I think the movie
Oh.
was at a larger scale was really good at. It wasn't predictable, I guess. I don't know. Like I like it looking back, it should have been. So maybe it was just me being an idiot. But the fact that I forgot his name when he's not Ives, but
Calhoun.
what was it?
Calhoun.
Wait, when Calhoun, he ends up becoming the guy, or he actually was the dude that ate everyone. He was like trying to lure them in for a trap, and that was a cool, like, oh shit, duh. Because I kept thinking like, where's this going? Where's this going? Who's gonna like? Because I had seen the movie review of it, and I'd seen all the footage throughout, so I knew there was more, but I still forgot what was happening.
Well, especially because they withheld who Ives was. Like when they do like the flashback, I was like, I bet you it's him. But also there was like that seed of doubt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the fact that he like when they went on the field to go rescue because I forgot his name. That one he's out.
Calhoun.
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 So they're at the fort, and there's a man. He comes up and he's like, "Oh, I'm with my party, and we got held up in the wood in the pass, and we started eating each other." And he's like, "But there's a lady there, and she's with this crazy Colonel Ives." And then the guys at the fort are like, "Oh shit, well let's go." So they go out, and one night they're staying in the in a tent, and one of the guys got hurt earlier, so he's bleeding. And he like starts freaking out because someone's looking at him at night because he's a cannibal. I thought it was
actually really fucking spooky.
Yeah,
like it was
that's
kind
like
of funny.
Camping with your friends, like even as a child, and you kind of have these fantasies of horror that you're playing out.
He's
like,
licking me. He's licking me. It's it's fucked, dude.
But I thought it was Guy Pearce because he was showing such curiosity about it. The way he had like addictive personality or something. Like he was like he was like asking about it. He was really interested about it. Like he's like it was as if he was I don't know, like a junkie trying to figure out a new fix or something.
Well, that I want to bring that to the relationship between Ives and Boyd. I love their relationship because Boyd, he wants clearly he wants to eat him, but he also wants to recruit him.
Yeah.
And his restraint from eating him, because he just knows that he's going to be the perfect cannibal if he can convert him. And the whole movie, Boyd is teetering on the fence of like, do I want to eat? Like that flashbacks or that like daydream he has of eating
David
Arquette, like that, like he's there, and
He's like, oh, yeah, let me eat that sweet old spleen. And then he imagines David Arquette is like, great job eating me.
Yeah. I love that when he starts cracking up.
He's like, ah. At first he's like, oh no. And then he's like, oh my gosh, you're eating me.
Yeah. Dude, I love their relationship throughout the film. Like, Ives is just trying to get him to join. And then at the end of the film, obviously, when he's like, what does he say to him when they're both dying together?
It's like, eat or die, eat or die. You can either.
You know, if you die first,
I'm going to eat you.
And then, if I die first, bon appetit. Or something like that.
Eat or die.
Dude.
Eat or die.
Yeah.
I'd also, I think that's one of the things that the twist played so well. Like, because it was like, to me, it was like, clearly he also ate food. But like him, like, that's like the power of honesty whenever you're like doing stuff or whatever. Where it's like, he's like, yeah, I ate human. I feel terrible about it. And then when he like he's like licking the meat. He's like, oh my gosh, please tie me up. I feel so bad. I'm such a monster. I was having a dream. And they're like, okay, all right. He's like, that's like the power of like honesty or whatever, where it's like he tells you what he is the whole time. And then it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then whenever he finally makes his switch, it's like, it's like completely like, oh. And then like, was he, I guess was he Ives or was he Calhoun?
That's true.
Not that it matters, really.
Because I remember that moment. Like, was that him actually, the last sliver of humanity he had left? He was trying to be like, dude, you guys need to look out. I'm about to go full Wendigo on you guys.
He's like, I don't know. But because that also, and I'm surprised now that it surprised me, but whenever he was Colonel Ives, I was like, oh, fuck, dude. Of course.
That was such, like, not dread. I was just uncomfortable. I was like, oh no. It's kind of like, I mean, it's just the person that you fear or someone who's a piece of shit ends up becoming someone in charge of you or someone really intimately close to you after all. And so I guess to put it more context. So,
no more context. No, just blind.
Yeah. So so Guy Pearce is like the only survivor from this crazy ambush from this cannibal. I again forgot his name. Is it Calhoun?
Calhoun.
Yeah, Calhoun. Is that my theme of this podcast? I can't remember that stupid name. So he's the only survivor from this ambush from Calhoun, and he gets back and he's injured. He got like a compound fracture.
He broke his leg, and then he and then he ate human.
Yeah, he ate someone that died nearby him when he ran away,
and it healed his leg.
Yeah.
Human meat is like a sensu bean.
It could, yeah. I mean, that's the takeaway. So he goes back to the fort. They need a new colonel to replace the one that died in the ambush. And Ives, aka Calhoun, shows up, and there's just this. It's a very dread moment. Like fuck, like it feels violating, like almost. I guess he's coming into his space or into the safe space
when
of
Boyd
the fort.
Collapses on the floor and he's shivering. Yeah. Oh man.
And then I guess like in terms of like, so there's only one actress, one female actor is Martha. She plays one of the
Indian guides or whatever.
Yeah, who the colonel said came with the fort. So I guess they lived there.
That's it.
There's some implications.
There's some and then there's the one moment too where he's like where he's telling the story and he's like, oh, such and such with his servant, and it's like, it's his slave. Come on, 1999.
Oh yeah,
when
Calhoun is referring,
because it's what 1948. So, but it was California, which I believe, if it was a state then, was a free state. But well, California always was a free state, but if it was a territory, I don't know what the laws then were. But she's the only character, but it's the angle, like, I think she's in there to be the kind of grounded character of what I think is talking about excess. You know, how they're like, Ives is just eating to excess. Like his point is just to be there and capitalize on eating people and setting traps and just like just as much as he can. And then he also goes out and says manifest destiny about westward expansion. So I think it's like, I mean, I think it's pretty heavy-handedly talking about kind of American greed.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting.
Consuming others to get stronger. There was a bunch of Ben Franklin quotes. What was it? What was the one that they did while they were like, they stabbed them? That was I fucking love that bit too. So again, context. The colonel, the soft blonde colonel, he comes back and he's a Wendigo or whatever. And then Robert Carlyle stabs Guy Pearce and is like, "Hey, you can stay alive. You'll bleed out slow, but if you eat human, you'll be fine." And so they just like
a hardcore hazing.
Yeah, and they're just like they put human stew in front of them, and they're just like, so tasty, so tasty, and they're just like they're having like a vacation, like talking about Ben Franklin and America and like how tasty the potatoes are. I don't think they ever say that, but I just imagine that they did. And like just like forcing him to eat human or die. Like consume, be a part of America or die. Join or die.
Dude, I gotta give a quick shout out to my favorite shot of the whole film. It's where it's like in the morning. I actually have it freeze framed on my computer here.
Pop it in the Discord so we can see it.
Ives and Boyd are talking in the morning. In the wee hours of the morning, Boyd is all beat the fuck out of, and Ives is trying to convince Boyd, become a cannibal with me. And it's just them standing side by side. And Ives looks so good. He looks tan. Looks like he hit the tanning salon a little bit.
He does.
Boyd looks beat the fuck out of, sunken eyes, face all bloodied, and there's an American flag right between them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just such a beautiful shot. And I don't know what to make of it. Get political if you want. You know, maybe one side's Republican, one side's Democratic. You know, let's get edgy here. I don't know what to make of it, but I just love that shot. Because going back to what you guys were just saying, like, there's a lot of, cannibalism in this movie. Yeah. I mean, literal and figurative.
I think any American imagery is there that just comes back to excess and greed.
Yeah.
Well,
and then also
I looked up the definition of a Wendigo. Do you guys want to hear it?
Yeah, give it to us.
Sure.
So a Wendigo is a human. It is I think, what is it? Algonquin fairy tale, folk tale, or... Yeah. So what happens is a human reaches a point of such intense greed or loss and lack of livelihood that they turn into this demon. And that is what a Wendigo is. So knowing the definition makes sense.
It's interesting. There's a whole bunch of reported, and I'm just thinking about like westward expansion and, getting real deep here. But like there's a whole bunch of reported like in the 1800s of like cannibalists from a bunch of exploration parties, either out at sea or like going out west, but just like the excessive sort of like the excessive eating, like using that Wendigo, where it's like, oh, you reach a point of excess, like America is just like reaching ever out westward to consume what is already there, and then like becoming the monster.
I think also that,
and that was the quote at the beginning.
California is more or less the end of the line, so maybe it's a sign of desperation or tapping out, or you've expired everything else. So what's next? What can get more exciting?
Yeah.
Well, there's a good line where the Indian guide, oh my god, I can't remember his name, but he says white man eats the body of Jesus Christ every Sunday, and I was like, huh, I like that. That's good.
Yeah, it was like a mic drop in terms of like the characters' reactions. Were like,
Oh. But yeah, there's.
But I think.
What was the quote at the beginning of the movie? Because Patrick, you just kind of touched on it.
Oh,
What was the quote at the beginning?
the Friedrich Nietzsche quote. Oh man.
Yeah, because it sets up the whole movie right there.
Yeah, and then the response to it in the same quote with the "eat me."
Yeah.
Oh man.
But with Robert Carlyle, I think the director and actors were a perfect pair because a lot of the things on this script could have, like from the paper, from the page, the dialogue could have been so cheesy, so poorly delivered, so cringy. And like there's a part where they have revolvers, and it's Calhoun at the time when he does the ambush, and he shoots it, and he I think he shoots once or whatever, like it click no bang, and he just says that's so annoying, like, and somehow it works, like
Yeah.
it's like it could be it comes across as like something like a teenager would say because they're pissed or something, but it's this like murderous cannibal guy, and it works. I don't like it. It just fits. It's so weird, and this movie's filled with those kind of moments, and I think that speaks to again the directors and actors.
Like even at the end, the end where he does that really weird trap, and we can talk about that whole end fight sequence. But it's like he said, like at the end of the whole end fight sequence where they have their like medieval dagger stuff, and he says he pushes him into the bear trap. He's like, that was really sneaky.
Yeah,
He's like,
Yeah.
and it's just like, okay,
it just works.
yeah.
It was also hilarious how that bear trap slapped like right near Guy Pearce's butt. So I just pictured like we're going into Hogwatch territory here. I just pictured as soon as the trap slaps, Guy Pearce inserts his penis into Ives' rectum, and then his one-liner at the end of the movie is, "I know you wanted me inside you this whole time, and now I am."
And that's how they die together. That's
They
I
die
actually
with
that
yeah.
I
This
actually
movie
have that
does
where
have
it's
a
like
lot of like homoerotic sexual tension between the two.
there's a moment
for
where
sure,
where Robert Carlyle and that's just what I'm gonna call him, the actor Robert Carlyle, where
Yeah.
he sucks the blood off of his fingers, like, and it takes like such a long time to do it. Like whenever Guy Pearce is all chained up, and he's just like he sucks the blood off his fingers, like, I know you want to taste this blood, but it's my blood, and I'm tasting it, and you can't because you're chained up. And then there was like right before they have like in the middle of their big fight, there's a moment after he stabbed him in the back. And like as he's like I think he's pulling the knife out of his back, and they're just so close. And I'm just like, I just wish they would start kissing right now. Just go ahead and kiss, boys.
I mean, that's as close as we got was their death, which was also very symbolic. They died in the jaws of that's not a bear trap. What would you call that thing? It's like an elephant trap.
That was huge.
That was
At first, I was like, "How the hell did he get there?" But then it made sense. He kind of pulled like a Arnold Schwarzenegger predator trap kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
one of
but
the rooms
like,
set up.
do
So I was
those
like, okay,
things
cool.
really exist? And what are they used for?
I mean, if they're that big, I don't know.
For
But
5
grizzly
different bears.
are big, grizzly brown bears, which are in California, I believe,
Yeah.
are fucking huge. So, but it's still a big trap. I think that's just an art department.
I think
special
I don't
effects.
think
They
that's
wanted them to
practical.
die in
thing.
jaws together. They
Yeah.
were clamped down and effectively eaten.
It's
swallowed.
such a weird way to kill a person. I don't know if
It is.
I don't know if-
especially when they're on top of each other, facing each other.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Dick
it only
to
killed
dick.
them because they had destroyed each other. And I think the cool thing about the final boss fight, if you will, is that it sucks in the sense that it's not cool and choreographed. Like it's just like men going after each other, like heaving and taking swipes and slowly degrading into just like worse combat because they're getting more and more defeated. And I really
Yeah.
like that. I like when a fight become a slog,
Yeah.
especially in a movie that already has you bought in or that you're immersed in the characters.
Cuz they got beat up.
Yeah,
They
and
were-
I
they were
guess
looking
like
rough.
you could say that's because they're buffed humans because they have eaten other humans, so they kind of their HP is up. I don't know.
Yeah.
So they just take longer to beat each other down.
I was wondering, so I have a couple random questions, but it kind of ties in. It's like, what happens when a Wendigo eats another Wendigo? Like, do they reach next level powers? Or
Based
I
on
want
this
the-
universe, I would say, yeah. I would say you just absorb the power of whatever you're eating. You know, kind of. It reminded me of Jeepers Creepers.
I don't know this film. I mean,
No,
I know that it exists. I just
It's a monster, and what he eats, he gains from it like a Wendigo. What he eats, he gains from his victims. So I would assume it's the same for this.
I feel like this concept would be so good in a superhero world. Like, think The Boys, but the heroes are they're getting their power from cannibalizing, but they're not like corporate dickheads necessarily. They're just they're I don't know. They're just eating people, and so it's a weird combination. I just want to see. I want to see this concept explored more in other, like, cross in with other world, like other. I just want to see it cross superheroes. It seems really interesting, like a weird concept, and something to explore that would be like the way The Boys or Watchmen kind of criticizes the superhero tropes and stuff.
I would eat so many guys who go to my gym. Like, oh, that guy has great rhomboids.
That's
I'm
funny.
like,
I wrote down as a prompt for later on in the podcast. It's like, who would you eat?
who would you eat?
oh, dude, I've got so many guys I would eat. I would eat so many guys. I would eat
Jesus.
every guy, dude. If I suddenly become 7 feet tall and I'm huge and yoked, you guys know I'm eating people.
Well, but
Yeah.
apparently, like, it doesn't. I think that it doesn't change you physically. So far, if we're just playing by the rules of this universe, it doesn't
Yeah,
change you
that's true.
physically. It just
Yeah.
like gives you the ability of the person that you ate.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
it's
We
like-
got to play by this universe's rules.
Well, it's kind of
Um,
like Palpatine's power,
Yeah.
which actually was one of my favorite aspects of him in that film. Was like, that's a cool concept that he just has all the power of the Sith because he's killed Sith sequentially that have been killing each other sequentially.
Huh.
But I don't know. I always have to bring up Rise of Skywalker.
Hey, we
and
gotta-
I complimented it this time, so
Oh,
plot
plot twist. Here we go. That's because it's plot twist city over here with Ravenous.
twist. Yeah. Well, another, I guess, funny moment. Actually, I think I might have laughed at this is when Martha walks in on them, like on top of each other, dead, and she's like, "Fuck this, I'm out," and she just leaves the fort promptly.
Oh, yeah.
I think that she looks at it. She's like, nice. They're dead.
Well, it was. I also got the vibe that she walked in on them in an intimate moment.
Mhm.
I guess.
she's like,
So
"Ooh."
yeah, it was like she walked in on them having just boned or something.
Yeah.
Like post
Post-
coital.
Post-coital.
Yeah, yeah. So like, it was like a weird combo of that and like, fuck this shit, I'm out. And it's just,
Yeah. She's
I don't know. It's just a prime example of like awesome moments this movie can deliver, mixing weird things, weird tones, and contrasting emotions.
I want to talk about how bad of a hunter he was. Cause
Carlyle.
yeah, Carlyle. If he was or Calhoun,
Yeah.
if he was like, cause you got to think about it. If you only eat human meat, and you've got a limited supply of human meat, and you let 2 guys fall off a cliff, he throws a dagger at one so that he falls off a cliff, like, and it's like, oh, and then he like scares the other one over the edge. You know, I mean, I guess you can't really predict that Guy
He's
Pearce
gonna jump.
that he's gonna jump, but it's like that's bad. That's bad hunting. And then they just leave David Arquette's body out to be out. It's not even like fully eaten. And if you have a limited supply of the food, you protect the food that you have. Like you they show that he was careful in the cave where he like hung him up and like bled him or whatever, and they're upside down. But then they just like they leave David Arquette's body haphazardly on the roof. How did he get up on the roof? Did they like?
That wasn't Ives who killed him. That was the principal from Ferris Bueller.
The Emperor from Amadeus.
Jeffrey Jones, I think his name is.
Yeah. But it's still
Well, I think I guess you could
But-
I could defend that.
Defend
or
it.
Counter that with the fact that the movie is about excess and waste, or
Okay.
excess to the point of waste.
okay.
So maybe
Oh.
so
Okay.
maybe Calhoun Ives is here and he's like, I got this fort, I got this dope setup, I got my friends. You know, we can kind of just like live in comfort and eat.
Okay.
And it's
like,
also-
however, as people come in and come by, you know, I got numbers, I got friends. But
To back you up,
that's-
John,
that's,
it's not
I
all.
guess, a
It's
theory.
also when you have excess, it's not just about the food. It's about the hunt.
That's
It's about
true.
the kill. It's about the game. It's the fun.
That's true.
Now that I have all these humans here,
All right. Successfully countered.
dude. I want to be a cannibal.
No.
dude, it sounds so good. I want to try. There's two things I
feel
want
like
to
with
do.
this-
There's
I
two
feel
things
like
I want to
with-
do before I die.
Oh boy.
Two things. I want to try cocaine.
Okay.
I've never done it before.
Good for
And
good
I want
for
to
you.
try human meat.
Don't do
Those
them
are
both on the
two
same
things I wanna
night.
do.
Don't.
Well, I was gonna say what I feel like what Twilight did for vampires, this should have and could do if rediscovered in the right way. Do for cannibals for sure.
Let's make cannibals sexy.
Yeah. I think it's here. I think if the right people see this, they realize, oh shit, like this could be an interesting concept to play with, and it could be made sexy in a vampire because vampires are. I mean, it is a form of cannibalism.
Let's
I want to
do a
see.
Twilight mixed with 365 Days, mixed with
Ravenous.
Hannibal Lecter, Ravenous. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, guys.
I
Oh my
want to
God.
see. I want to see the alternate cut where he's like, yeah, he like buys in and is like, yeah, all right, let's be a cannibal team out in the woods. Or I want to see that like dynamic where like you start out and maybe you're different people, and you are travelers and you're like, oh, we're running out of space in the woods, and oh look, here's this fort, and there's these three dudes there, Guy Pearce, Robert Carlyle, and Jeffrey Jones, and they're like, yeah, come fucking chill with us, we'll take care of you, and it's great. And then it's like,
That would be a good setting for just a horror film on its own. Is like, why are these guys disappearing? Like, what's the monster here? And then you realize it's just the three other dudes here, like eating them.
yeah, I know, and that's what I'm saying. It's like that would be, I want to see the world in which, and then like you could kind of like your third act could be like the guy Pearce never really wanted to be, like he finally become like he gets to where he gets at the end of this movie, you know, where he's like, you know what, I'm fucking tired of eating people. I want to try and not eat people, and they're like, no, we can't not eat people. An idiot.
Sounds like an interesting HBO miniseries, like a 8 to 10 episode run.
Yeah.
Dude, I would love to see that. Like more so from the cannibal side.
Yeah.
Struggling with the addiction to human meat.
Oh my gosh.
Which also, It's Always Sunny did, and I realized, I don't know if you guys have seen, there's an episode of It's Always Sunny where they think they ate human meat, so they think they're addicted to human meat because they ate human meat once.
I've
so
seen
they're
I've
like,
seen that.
We
yeah.
need humans. I guarantee they watched this movie and were like, that's a hilarious concept that you eat human meat once and become instantly addicted. Let's
I mean, I
make
bet
an
if
episode
we
about it."
rewatch that episode, we'd find a Ravenous line thrown away in there somewhere.
Oh
sure.
yeah, I'm sure.
Like it's lonely being a cannibal.
Oh,
Yeah.
I ate human meat once. Now I can't stop.
I guess you guys want to do. I think we mostly talked about things we liked and almost didn't like, but I guess like quick rundown each of our pros and cons. I guess.
Okay, yeah.
Pros first.
I'll
Let's do cons first. Let's start negative, finish positive. I guess.
Yeah, I'll do my cons real fast. I think that there's a lot of deliberate choices, but I don't think that they follow through on all the threads. And I think it like the troubled production, how they fired their director 3 weeks into production, like it really shows, because like there's just a lot of threads that don't get finished out, and the tone of it, like they could either be a lot more funny and like really lean into it, because like their dark comedy isn't there. It just feels more goofy to me more often than not. And then I mean that's pretty much it. Like I just feel like the tone could have been hit harder, and I think that they could have just made a decision rather than sitting somewhere in the middle of being like kind of horror, and kind of comedy.
Yeah, I think my only con is that there were moments that felt funny, but some of it was intentional, which you kind of touched on, Patrick, but some of it felt like it might not have been intentional, and it was just bad. So there were only a few moments that were like that I was like, wait, did they, like, either the editing or something that was just like, that was really hokey and stupid looking, but maybe it was intentional. I don't know. If it was intentional, then damn, they were way ahead of their time. But it felt like there were a lot of moments that were like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the music the music is both awesome and also kind of annoying sometimes.
Yes. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I personally love the hokiness. I think I acknowledged, I was like, oh, this is kind of hokey, but it never took me out, and I really liked it, but I do think that exists. I think that it can be a big detractor for anyone or for recommending it, and also the tonal kind of being everywhere. But for me, it personally worked, and I guess I'll pivot to the pros, and I liked it. I think it's a good 4 out of 5 film for me. Four butt cheeks out of cooked, filleted Gluteus Maximuses out of 5 for me. And the same way I ranked
just 4 butt cheeks. You gotta cook them.
I gotta specify what kind. But to me, it was the same way that Attack the Block is. Like, it's not the perfect film, but I can't think of a lot of things I didn't like, or any really. So for me, it's in the same sense a 4 out of 5 film. And I really love the performances. I was into it. Every actor, everyone in it just did an awesome job of kind of being miserable and looking for some good, or just accepting the shittiness of the situation, the temptation, the thirst, the reluctance, and then the kind of boisterousness of some of the characters, or even the cliche soldier character that Neil McDonough plays. Everyone is so in their lane, and it's so good. And then I like the tone being all over the place, and I love the setting of the American frontier. I just love that setting and the vistas, and seeing 1840s U.S. military soldiers on patrol in the Sierra Nevada was such a cool kind of contrast of imagery of the uniforms and the setting. I don't know. That's kind of a scattered my pros and my score. So
yeah.
Amen, dude. If I'm jumping off a cliff, I'm hitting 9 branches out of 10.
Ooh.
It's not that he was tumbling down when he hit the ground. He was going through trees for a long time.
He was going through trees for so long.
Yeah. I have to back up John and also clarify. My con was just the one con I could find with this movie, because I fucking loved how all over the place the tone was in this movie. And I do think a lot of it was intentional. And if you're listening to the podcast at this point and you still haven't watched the movie, you're an idiot. You should have stopped the podcast at the beginning and gone and watched it, because this movie is incredible. But if you still are listening, still go watch it. It's a trip. So yeah, I loved it. I was along for the ride the whole time. I was hungover the whole time I was watching it, and I was still in for the ride. So yeah, 9 branches out of 10.
Oof. It definitely it didn't do me the way it did you guys. For me, it was really close on a lot of stuff. Like, the acting is great, the theming is great, but it just it feels like it just touches the surface. Maybe it's just doesn't go far enough. Like, I really like a lot of it, but for me, it's 3 out of 6 Spadoinkle Days, which is a reference to Cannibal the Musical. Matt Stone and Trey Parker's send up of Alfred Packer that they did. But it just,
which you did.
I did do that. I did that.
And you were fantastic in that show.
Thank you very much. Yes, I do like to act sometimes, but I liked, and I think I'm being harsh on this movie because I saw a lot of promise, and I really liked a lot of the ideas. It felt like a first draft. I wouldn't change any of the actors. I wouldn't change. And I think the script is pretty good too. I think I would just change. It just seems bare to me. It seems like they hit the moments, and but I just wanted to see them dial it up a little bit. Like even the campiness, even some of the weirdness, I would have them ramp it up just a little bit.
Yeah, I agree that I do want more from it, but that's from a different angle of I liked it, so I want more of it.
Yeah.
Which maybe that's a little meta because that's like the message of the film. Is
Oh
excess.
my gosh.
But
That's what they fucking did to us.
Yep.
They got super meta. Oh my god.
They just wanted to leave you wanting more.
11 out of 6. I changed my mind.
Meta score.
Calhoun!
I want to try human meat. What are you guys watching these days?
Do we have reviews from?
Oh yeah, we
people or
got
not?
reviews.
Oh, you
I
do?
pulled some reviews.
All right,
Yes.
I'm curious.
So this is 2.5 stars. Kind of funny at times. Slow moving. Overall, not very interesting.
All right.
Which is
I think
there's a lot
I
of
think that's
break-
a fair for somebody who I could see people not liking
yeah,
this.
I think that's a fair review.
that's, yeah.
Not for everyone,
This
but I
is
think it is a hidden gem.
this is a 2 out of 5 stars. Would call it suspenseful rather than scary. Most of the movie feels like it's a joke, but the ending salvages it a bit.
Yeah, that's interesting.
One of my favorite films starts a great mix of emotions and themes. Creepy to the skin, gorging for the eyes, and tickling to the ears. Love the soundtrack.
What is this review?
Wait, what was that? Creepy to the skin?
Creepy to the skin, gorging
Creepy
to the eyes, tickling to the ears. That sounds like the beginning of like a Vincent Price, this tales we're about to tell you are creepy to the skin, gorging to the eyes, and tickling to the ears.
Sounds like what I whisper in my
Definitely-
wife's ear when we're in foreplay.
Here's a
Ah.
I think that's my favorite review I've heard on any of these so far.
Yeah. Here's a 1-star review. What do you get when you take a bizarre script? Bizarre's misspelled. Bizarre. Some over the top acting and directing, some really bad editing, and a big bucket of blood and guts. You get this undercooked piece of crap masquerading as a combination horror flick western with a lot of tongue-in-cheek sequences, so to speak. Give this one a wide berth.
Huh.
Yeah.
Dude, I like, even though I think that guy sucks, I can see the person who would. It makes sense.
What does he
'Cause
eat for breakfast?
This movie is not for everyone. It is
No.
not.
Let's
So
we'll play a game with this. What does this reviewer eat for breakfast? What does that guy eat for breakfast?
this guy
He
eats
toaster
leftover.
strudel.
Sorry, John. Go ahead.
I think he eats toaster strudel, like boxed frozen breakfast stuff that you put in a toaster.
Okay.
No, you're wrong. What he
Oh.
eats is leftover SpaghettiOs that he cooked the night before, and he microwaves them. That's what
miserable. That's not even that big of a serving in SpaghettiOs.
No, he's got to ration it. He's got to
he eats.
ration
He's rationing,
it.
dude. That's why he didn't like the movie.
Whoa,
because he's
meta.
hungry all the time, dude. We're getting
Oh
so meta.
shit!
Hunger.
Oh my
Maybe
god!
not meta.
That's
Don't
what it
overuse
is. He
that.
doesn't like the excess of it. He's like, he left that man on the top of the roof. We could have put him in a freezer and kept him for days. I
His
would be
guts
able to.
look like they.
I'd be
smell
able to
like
mix them in with my
SpaghettiOs.
SpaghettiOs.
It's funny that you bring up SpaghettiOs because when I would eat it as a kid, I would eat it with my uncle when I go to their house, and he'd always make bloody brains, and it was like this little joke that we had that we were eating bloody brains when we were eating SpaghettiOs. So it's kind of
Oh damn, dude!
You know,
comes
in,
around.
So
you know in
meta.
Costa Rica, they feed SpaghettiOs to pigs because they say that pigs remind them of Americans.
wait, is that real?
No, I made that up. The next
That's so
review,
obscure. I was like-
I believed you. I believed you.
the next review is a 4-star review. Comedy seldom gets this dark, savage, and twisted. It might be a bit too disgusting for many, but this is a thrill ride of a movie, and it is very well crafted. What's he eat for breakfast?
Cinnamon toast.
An acai bowl.
Cinnamon toast, not cinnamon toast crunch, like cinnamon sugar toast.
Okay, he actually takes the time.
I think.
Does he have?
Yeah, he
does he
takes the
have like
time
a
to-
shaker of it, or does he like take the time and have separate?
He makes it, but he has to redo the batch every week. So
Okay.
he makes like a portion of cinnamon sugar and mixes it in a little bowl, wraps it up in plastic wrap. But he has to do it every week because he eats it for breakfast every morning. And he's eating gluten-free toast.
Of course.
I want to get to my favorite review.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, this is not my favorite review, but this is, I'll get to it next. But this is a 5-star review. One of the best dark comedies of all friggin' time. What do they eat for breakfast?
That's it?
That's it. That's his review.
Oh. I mean, that's not enough. What's his profile picture? What's his name?
No. There's nothing else. That's it. That's all I'm giving you.
That's it? Yeah, dude, that's
I don't think he eats breakfast because he sleeps in.
Okay.
And then it's lunch. That's my answer.
All right. That's a good answer.
I'm gonna back John up on this. I think that's
Here's my favorite review because it's on Rotten Tomatoes. I pull my reviews from Rotten Tomatoes, and this person submits it. It says they have 2 stars out of 4, even though there's already a 5-star rating system there or whatever. Ravenous is an adventurous tale that starts out okay and with an interesting plot, but becomes so unpleasant and falls apart as it goes along, despite solid performances from everyone involved. Captain John Boyd, Guy Pearce, is kicked out of the armory after a cowardice act during the Mexican-American War. Not true. He is sent west to a gold mining camp in the Sierra Nevadas with a ragtag group mine for gold. It's also not true.
What? Dude, did they...
This person has a whole other idea of who he is.
And then, I mean...
This guy's just coming up with his own movie.
Yeah, he just made up his own movie. And then, I mean, one day a Scottish miner, Robert Carlyle, not true, stumbles into camp and tells tale of how he and his crew got lost and ate each other. And it's like, whoa, that's all wrong. He doesn't... Did you watch it?
The review started off like a fair breakdown of film.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
he made up his own like it's a 5-star system, and he's like, no, I'm rating out of 4.
Hey, this guy beats to his own drum.
Yeah,
or
good.
walks
I mean,
to, whatever the expression is.
He beats off to his own drum.
He probably does.
He beats off to his own drum.
It's just a slight variation of reality is how this guy lives.
Yeah.
So he has cereal with water.
Ooh.
Kinda what he does.
Oh,
he doesn't like it either. He doesn't like it,
John,
either.
that's like borderline offensive to say that, dude. Like telling
Why?
someone they eat their cereal with water, that is like that's edgy, dude. That's really edgy. That's like ratchet level.
You can come at me
edgy.
if you want.
That's a really good insult. Yeah, come at us, bro.
Damn, dude.
So what are you guys watching these days? What's good?
Well, what's good is I watched Casablanca. It's this little indie from 70, 80 years ago now. Jesus Christ, that's a long time ago.
Wow.
Yeah, when
No,
did that come
the 50s
It
always
came
will
out
be
in-
50 years ago to me.
It came out in 42, I think. 42 or 44.
42? Holy shit. Damn.
Yeah, 1942, which is pretty wild because it came out in 42 while World War II was going on, about World War II.
Yeah.
But that movie, let me tell you, it holds up. You know, it's definitely an old movie, so it's an old movie. But as far as they just ran differently back then. Like, as a person who likes theater and film, it's like you can see them bridging the gap. And especially as I've begun to pay more attention in movies, it's like seeing the long takes and just being able to appreciate that more. Humphrey Bogart sitting in there for 5 minutes as he's saying all those lines and
being the ultimate man,
happening, everything happening so fast. It's good. I also watched The Martian, which is also really good.
Read that book, then watched the movie. It's definitely one of those when people were butt heads and they're like, it's not as good as the book. The book explores a lot more and has a lot more of the emotional journey and tension.
Yeah.
If you compare the book to the movie, it's just a coast down the street when he gets away from the hab or whatever or whatever that place he's hanging out is. But that's just my little anecdote.
No.
It's still a great movie. Still a great movie.
No, I'd love to read that. I think I forgot that it was a book.
Yeah, it was written as we're talking about The Martian by Andy Weir, but it was written as he wrote it and no one would take it. So then he offered it up for free or offered it up on his own website as an ebook or something. And it went viral. And then all the publishers were like, whoa, dude, chill out. Don't do that. Let's make some money.
He's like, yeah, well, why don't you fucking pay me for it in the first
Yeah,
place?
so it's kind of a cool story of like, fuck you, establishment, I guess. But yeah.
And then I
What else?
also while I was on vacation in between watching basketball, which yay, basketball's back. No COVID tests yet. I also watched the Jurassic Park movies were just on. Like they were on back to back, and it's like those movies are fun.
Oh yeah.
That's it. That's what I've been watching.
Also, good books, I will say.
Yeah, I love the
if
second
you like
book.
for the audience or whoever, if you like where the movies take your imagination, the books take it to the extreme. It's awesome to just put yourself in that world. In the world that he builds.
Michael Crichton.
You know what I say about Jurassic Park fans? They do travel in herds.
Yep.
You guys teed me up for that one.
Yeah. Well, I've been watching. I've made up for my abysmal July. In July, I watched 3 movies. It's bad. One of which was Hamilton, and then in August, which we're currently in, I'm making up for it. So I saw Frida. I've seen Gods and Generals, which that's pretty much Confederate propaganda at this point, but it was super interesting to watch. And then I contrasted by watching Grant, which is a History Channel documentary, and it's fucking phenomenal. And it kind of really opened my eyes up to the Lost Cause myth. I always kind of knew it existed, but it really defined it for me.
What is
which
that?
was
What's the
which was a
Lost
really
Cause myth?
weird contrast with Gods in general. The Lost Cause myth is essentially why we have shit going on in the world today in regards to Black Lives Matter and racial injustice.
Political.
But it's
Getting political.
no.
Manifest
Well, yeah,
Destiny.
probably. But it is real. The Lost Cause myth is writers, the president, Jefferson Davis, generals, rebranding the war for states' rights. It was a war of northern aggression. It was this rebranding, and it empowered the KKK, and it was all these things, and it killed off the civil rights movements in the 1870s, and then it created Jim Crow, and it essentially established 100 years of this racism until we got to the civil rights in the 1960s. So it's wild. So then Grant, he essentially was the first and last for 100 years civil rights president.
Yeah.
And he kind of got shat on and buried in American history because of the Lost Cause myth, which is insane because he should be up there with up there with Washington. My last thing I'll say on Grant, but they brought back the ranking of lieutenant general for him, which hadn't been done since George Washington. So I think that should say everything there is of how important of a man he was.
Yeah.
And how ahead of his time he was. You know, he was fighting for civil rights back then, and then it just didn't work, and then the country gave up on it for 100 years
because of reconstruction, and then we don't get taught it correctly. Like especially being in North Carolina, you know, there's a whole
The
big
War of
It was
Northern
interesting
Aggression.
being taught in Maine and then being taught in North Carolina is definitely a contrast. I also saw Thank You for Smoking. Great movie to always go back and watch. I watched Greyhound, the Tom Hanks film. Really cool. It's like a really cool technical look at like a destroyer on a convoy run in World War II.
Huh.
I watched Mary Poppins.
Oh wow.
And then I watched Saving Mr. Banks, and I cried like a baby at that movie.
Yeah.
Saving Mr. Banks, because it's like two of my sweet spots, which is like maintaining the inner child, the inner creativity, and Earl Travers rediscovers that, and then it also ties in fatherhood. So it's like these two sweet spots for me. I was like just bawling my eyes out. So
and Tom
I love
Hanks
that
in
movie.
it too.
I also
Wait.
love Tom Hanks. So
What was the
Good
Tom Hanks one?
well, there's two.
There's two.
Greyhound, which is the World War II one, but then Saving Mr.
Okay.
Banks, he plays Walt Disney in that movie.
Didn't he?
Damn.
Didn't he
Doesn't
direct
he also
Greyhound?
play Mr. Rogers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Tom Hanks is so fucking wholesome. Stop being wholesome. Like,
Dude,
Show us your
try
butt,
being
dude.
edgy, dude. Yeah, show us your butt, man.
Hogwatch wish list. And then I also saw War Dogs, just another good movie.
That's a fun
It's
movie.
it's the same director as Hangover and
Todd Phillips.
Joker. Yep, great film. Sorry I had a lot, but I was like, fuck yeah, I watched a lot so far and I want to share it.
We're
But,
proud. We're
yeah.
proud
I
of
just
you,
finished Gilmore Girls for the 4th time. And my wife just turned 30, and Scott Patterson, who plays Luke on Gilmore Girls, sent my wife a cameo
dude.
on her birthday, and it made her day.
Hell
So
yeah.
that was dope, because we literally just finished Gilmore Girls today, and her birthday was yesterday. She got the cameo yesterday. It was amazing. And yeah, he looks like, for anybody who hasn't seen Gilmore Girls, he looks like Chris Evans' father.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's
just a wholesome dad, dude.
Yeah, dude, he's
Just
like
a small
the
town,
sexiest dad.
like former
you
jock,
guys know,
but still has a good
I'm
heart.
a straight guy. We know this. I'm the resident straight guy, but I love hot guys.
True.
Scott
He's-
Patterson is the masculine version of Chris Evans. Chris Evans is like Baywatch. Scott Patterson is, I'm gonna fix your house.
Oh.
I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna fix your car. I'm gonna do your house. I'm gonna do you.
Whoa.
Like a better version of Tim Allen that isn't as famous.
Exactly, dude. Tim Allen's clean cut. Tim Allen
he?
is a baby face. Tim Allen is a little pussy boy.
Go
Scott
off,
Patterson?
Christian.
Movie trailer.
Scott Patterson is a man.
Tell us about it.
He's a fucking man, and he sent my wife a cameo. and
What
she
would-
loved it.
What kind of cake would you bake for Scott Patterson?
Cheeseburgers.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's no
Cheeseburgers.
It's a cheeseburger cake.
I got a cake for you, Scott. It's fucking cheeseburgers, and it's not a cake.
Pure cheeseburgers.
Also, something I know
but
you've been watching.
I do have to
as
say,
well.
In all seriousness,
Oh.
Gilmore Girls, best show of all time. Best
It's a great
of all
show. I've seen it
I love
maybe
that
2.5
show.
times. 2.5
Ah.
run-throughs. So it's a great show. You know, it's not just like a show for girls, as it maybe you would.
No, it's
it would
coming of
sound,
age.
You know?
It's like it's
Oh, can't believe you guys watched that show. It's got cooties. Ew, gross.
It's a lot of writers from Family Guy were part of it. You know, like it's just good. I don't know how else.
It's such
to
a good
frame
show. It is such.
But
a
then
good
also, I know we both have just watched The Last Dance, which is awesome.
I've watched
I
The
wanna-
Last Dance.
Yeah, and I think we can. We're talking about it before, but I don't. Again, no promises. But I do want to maybe cross it with Space Jam, because that'd be fun to just go into that and take a deep dive in that
Yeah.
world.
Just
Dude,
talk about
Last
Michael
Dance
Jordan
is
for an hour.
One of the most riveting documentaries I've ever seen. And I don't care about basketball
I love it.
at all.
I love it. I love it. I love watching that man fly up in the air and slam on other people.
He's a superhuman.
He really is.
He probably eats people, dude. That's
Oh,
how he
whoa.
gets it.
God.
I think
Bringing
we
it
need to
back.
end it there.
He eats
Yeah.
people.
Top that.
All right, as they say in hit us up on Twitter at Stinky Podcast and tell us what you think we should watch next. Pitch us your movie. Tell us your favorite movie. Rate and review the Stinky Podcast, please, or just send us boxes of hamburger cakes.
Ooh,
Mm.
that's good.
And as they say in North Carolina, by way of the Sierra Nevada mountains, he probably eats people.